What if someone was hurt and no one ever talked about it? What if a good person was taken away, but everyone stayed quiet? This is the story of Kerry Arbon. He was kind. He believed in love and faith. But in 1991, something very bad happened to him in Salt Lake City, and we still don't know who did it. Let's find out why his story was forgotten and bring it back to light. Today, let's dig into the unsettling case of a kind man named Kerry, whose quiet life took a dark and unexpected turn. He lived a long time ago in a city called Salt Lake City. He was part of a group that loved peace, prayers, and being kind to others. But one cold night in 1991, something very sad happened to him. And for more than 30 years, no one has solved the mystery. Let's go on a journey to learn what happened and why we must never forget people like Kerry. Uncovering the story of Kerry Arbon. In the quiet town of Salt Lake City, a man named Kerry Arbon lived a quiet, ordinary life until the day everything changed. Kerry wasn't loud. He didn't try to be the center of attention. Instead, he was soft-spoken, friendly, and always polite. He had kind eyes and a warm smile that made people feel safe. He liked to listen more than he liked to talk, and when he did speak, his words were full of calm and care. Kerry believed in love, peace, and faith. He went to a church where people prayed, sang songs, and helped one another. This church was very important to Kerry. He believed in being a good person, in doing the right thing, and in loving others, even when it was hard. He had a family, too. They loved him. Kerry wasn't perfect, but he tried every day to be better, just like many of us do. Some people say Kerry was quiet because he carried a secret. He was different in a way that some people didn't understand. He loved in a way that made others uncomfortable. But Kerry never wanted to hurt anyone. He just wanted to be accepted for who he really was. Even though Kerry was kind, there were people around him who didn't treat him fairly. They didn't know how to love someone who was different. And sometimes, when people don't understand something, they choose to stay silent or even turn away. But Kerry, he just kept being gentle. He kept walking through life with hope. He kept believing that kindness would win. And even though he didn't know it, Kerry's story would one day become a mystery that needed to be solved. The day Kerry's life took a dark turn. One day, something very sad happened. It was a regular day in 1991. The sky looked normal, the streets were quiet, and everyone in the neighborhood went about their usual morning routines. But something felt off. People who knew Kerry noticed they hadn't seen him. He usually smiled at neighbors or waved on his way to the store. But that day, no one saw him. Kerry didn't come to church. He didn't go to work. He didn't answer his phone. His friends and family started to worry. So, someone called the police. And that's when everything began to change. The police went to Kerry's home to check on him. They knocked on the door. No answer. They called his name. Still no answer. Then, when they opened the door, they found something they didn't expect. The house was too quiet. Inside, the police made a heartbreaking discovery. Kerry was no longer alive. He had been hurt badly. Someone had done something terrible to him. No one could believe it. Kerry? Sweet, quiet Kerry? How could this happen to someone so kind? The news spread fast. Friends cried. Neighbors held each other. Everyone asked the same question. Who would hurt Kerry? But there were no easy answers. No one saw anything. No one heard anything. And just like that, a peaceful man's life had been taken away. And the saddest part? No one knew why. Why everyone stayed quiet. After Kerry was found, many people were shocked. He was such a nice man. Why would anyone hurt him? The police tried to look for answers. They asked questions, they searched for clues, and they hoped someone would come forward to say what happened. But something strange happened. No one talked. People who lived nearby didn't say much. Friends who may have known something stayed quiet. And the people at Kerry's church, the place he loved so much, also stayed silent. It was like everyone was scared to speak. Some people whispered that Kerry was different, that he loved in a way they didn't understand. And back then, not everyone was kind about that. Some people thought it was better to look away, even if someone was hurt. Others may have worried, what will people think if I speak up? Will I get in trouble? Will I be judged too? So the truth stayed hidden, and Paul Kerry's story began to fade away, like a puzzle with missing pieces. The police tried, but without help, they couldn't solve the case. The clues were too few. The voices were too quiet. And slowly, the mystery of Kerry's death became a cold case, a story left out in the snow. But just because people stopped talking doesn't mean the truth went away. Why the mystery stayed cold. After Kerry was gone, many people had big feelings inside, feelings like sadness, confusion, and maybe even guilt. But still, no one came forward to say what really happened. The police called it a cold case. That means it's a mystery that hasn't been solved for a very long time. But why didn't anyone help? Why didn't someone say something? There are a few possible reasons. Reason 1, fear. Some people might have been scared. Scared of what others would think. Scared they might get in trouble. Scared to be part of something so serious. Reason 2, judgment. Kerry was different in a way that some people didn't accept. He loved in his own way, quietly, kindly, but not everyone understood that. Instead of being kind back, some people stayed away. They didn't want to be involved, so they stayed silent. Reason 3, silence in the community. Sometimes, whole groups of people feel like they shouldn't talk about certain things. They think, if we don't speak about it, maybe it will go away. But hiding the truth doesn't make things better. It just makes the truth harder to find. And that's how Kerry's story stayed cold, like a snowball that was dropped and never picked up again. But here's something important. Even cold cases can warm up again. Sometimes, all it takes is one brave person, one small clue, one moment of truth. Because every person matters, every voice matters, and Kerry's story still matters. Never forget Kerry Arbon, the case that still haunts. Kerry was a real person. He was kind. He believed in faith, in love, and in being true to who he was, even when it was hard. He didn't shout. He didn't fight. He just wanted to live his life peacefully. But someone took that away from him. And for many years, people stayed silent. They didn't tell what they knew. They were afraid, or unsure, or maybe they thought it didn't matter anymore. But it does matter. Kerry mattered, and his story is important. Sometimes, when we see something wrong or scary, we might feel too small to do anything. But even a little voice can be powerful. Telling the truth, helping a friend, or standing up for someone who's different. Those are big, brave things. If someone had spoken up for Kerry long ago, maybe today, we'd know who hurt him. But even now, right now, we can still do something. We can say his name. We can remember his kindness. We can promise to be the kind of people who love others, even if they are different, even if they are quiet, even if the world doesn't understand them. So if you ever see someone being left out, or hurt, or treated unfairly, speak up. Because every person deserves love. Every story deserves to be told. And Kerry's light still shines, through you, through me, and through everyone who chooses kindness.